Would you be the jerk for fat-shaming someone? We'll break that down in a bit, but first, am I the jerk for telling my friend I won't watch their kid until they can wipe their own butt? My friend asked me if I would watch her daughter for a weekend while she went on a trip with her boyfriend. So fast forward, my friend drops her daughter off at my place and everything seems to be going great. I see her daughter all the time because her mom is a friend I'm really close to. So she wasn't uncomfortable or shy at all and made herself right at home. A few hours go by and she tells me she needed to use the bathroom, so I show her the toilet and leave her to do her business. After about 15 minutes, I hear her calling my name, so I go running to the bathroom worried that something had happened. I open the door and ask what's wrong and she replies, "I need help wiping." This confused me because this is a 7-year-old girl we're talking about, not some toddler or baby that's still potty training. I say, "What do you mean? Did something happen?" And she says, "No, I just went poop." So I tell her, "I'm not going to help you wipe. You're a big girl and you should know how to do it on your own." But she was not budging and refused to do it herself and said that her mom wipes for her because she says if she did it herself, she wouldn't get clean enough. Ultimately, I was disgusted. And maybe I'm in the wrong. I understand all parents raise their kids differently and all children are on their own time frame of learning new things and such. But being a 7-year-old and still not wiping your own butt was just beyond me. After a while of telling her I won't be wiping for her and she's going to have to sit on the toilet until she decides to do it herself, she starts hysterically crying, telling me she can't do it herself because it's gross and she won't get clean. At this point, I call her mom and explain the situation and make it clear that I will not be wiping her butt for her. Thinking my friend would understand my reasoning for not wanting to and tell her daughter she needs to do it herself this time, boy was I wrong. My friend and I got in a huge argument over this, her telling me how immature I am for not wanting to wipe a little kid's butt, and telling me that I was seriously going to ruin her trip over this because she would have to come back home and get her child because I'm making her feel bad about how she does things. I got extremely frustrated over this whole thing, told her she would need to find someone else to come pick her daughter up and watch her if this was going to be such a big deal because there was no way in heck I was wiping her 7-year-old's butt. My friend screamed at me about how insanely immature I am, hung up the phone, and about 40 minutes later, the daughter's grandma was at my door to pick her up. So, am I the jerk for not wanting to wipe a 7-year-old's butt for them after every crap they take? Please let me know. I don't have kids of my own and I never plan to, but I sure as heck know that when I was 7, I was definitely wiping. You know, I hear stories like this and I think to myself, yeah, I still don't think I'm ready for kids anytime soon. Although I know that this situation is very far from the norm. And OP's right, different kids have different levels of progression in their lives. But the important thing here is OP should never have had to have been blindsided by the fact that they would have been expected to clean up after a 7-year-old after they went to the bathroom. PST wrote, "Not the jerk. I wonder what the child does at school. My child's school requires you to be potty trained before you're allowed to start kindergarten unless you're in sped classes. This is something she really should have informed you about before allowing you to take her for the weekend." OP responded saying, "I was wondering the same thing. Not sure how schools work nowadays or what the requirements are for her specific one, but I know I definitely had to be potty trained when I was in elementary school as well. She's also in the 1st grade, not even a kindergartner anymore, so I truly don't know how she goes about it." Also, hi, I'm Steven, and if you guys enjoy getting to decide whether or not all of these people are jerks, why not hit those like and subscribe buttons down below? That said, our next story is, am I the jerk for telling my husband's girl best friend she can't host my baby shower? I, 22-year-old female, and my husband, 23-year-old male, got married young. I was 18, he was 19. Both of us knew we always wanted to get married and start a family young. I started college 2 years ago, and he just graduated with a Bachelor of Biomedical Science. My husband has a girl best friend, 23-year-old female, who I'll call Sam, who we met in college. Both of them grew up Baptist, and while he's left the church, they had a very similar childhood and bonded quite quickly. Despite what you may be thinking, her and I got along really well. She and I liked the same music, and we were both studying in relatively the same fields, so she became a friend of mine as well. Since I found out I was pregnant though, some issues have started to arise. We announced our pregnancy on social media after we told our parents. Sam texted my husband a congrats text and then told him to pass on her well wishes to me. She's been texting him non-stop with baby advice and what she likes to call advice for mama, which includes sometimes relatively targeted jabs at what I should eat. Honestly, I just kept brushing the texts off, but it got to a point where the conversations were less about the baby and more about me, which I was getting increasingly uncomfortable with because she wasn't texting me, she was texting my husband. My husband acknowledged this and has just started to show them to me and ask what I want him to do. I just told him to ignore them. When I announced I was having a baby shower and sent out the invites, I received a text from Sam. She said something along the lines of wanting to host my baby shower and set it up. I told her politely that my mom was planning on hosting it with the help of my sister and that it was a special moment for them and I wouldn't want to take that away. Well, Sam ignored that message because the next day, she came over and insisted we start working out arrangements for the venue. I told her once again my mom and sister were hosting it, and she told me that she should take her advice and let her plan it because she would ensure that the baby shower would be better if she planned it, particularly because she'd been working on the menu. Whether it was pregnancy hormones or just bottled up rage, I told her that the jabs she'd been making at me behind my back about my diet during this pregnancy to my husband are really annoying at that. No, she cannot host the shower, and from now on, her unsolicited advice was not appreciated, especially if she can't say it to my face. That night, my husband's phone blew up with messages from Sam saying that he had no right to show her those messages, and they were just supposed to be health tips because Sam was studying nutritional science and only wanted to help her best friend and ensure a happy baby in life. Honestly, I don't know. I know she had somewhat good intentions and she's been a good friend to my husband and to me, so am I the jerk? I don't think OP's the jerk here in the sense that they said they're not comfortable and they want to go a different direction and they keep insisting. I mean, has there been anybody that's ever appreciated somebody who is so pushy like that? Even if they were your best friend, being that pushy would be obviously very annoying. Dux McQuackers wrote, "Not the jerk. Sam overstepped massively, to the point where it's clear she has more than platonic feelings for your husband. If Sam was truly your friend, she would text you directly, listen to you, understand that advice doesn't have to be taken, not make this about her, not be upset when you get shown the advice that should be meant for you. It's clear Sam doesn't understand that there needs to be boundaries in the friendship. You and your husband have to be firm about what those boundaries are. This can't be a you thing or a him thing. You both have to be united in this." One Chipmunk3386 wrote, "Not the jerk, she's messy. She really wanted him to hide the messages from his wife like it was some secret. Like she could talk about his wife and he not tell her. She's a toxic, messy person and OP's husband did the right thing by letting her know. Ugh, these female besties irritate me to no end. They don't know boundaries and it's like they think they're in competition with the wife. Obviously there's transparency within your relationship, which she thought she could exploit. She needs to have several seats and leave OP and her husband alone. The husband needs to check her though. Like, seriously, check her." This next story is, am I the jerk for telling my aunt and family that they've lost access to my sister? A few days ago, I, 23-year-old female, was supposed to pick up my little sister, 7-year-old female, whom I have sole custody of. But my aunt, 32-year-old female, overstepped and said she would pick her up and drop her off to me. She took 45 minutes to do so, although I live 10 minutes away and was only 5 minutes away from pickup. Fast forward to the next day, my little sister informs me that while she was with our aunt, she saw our estranged mother, whom is only allowed to be seen during supervised visits with CPS only. I texted my aunt and asked her if it was true. She began telling me there was no need for me to tell you because that is her mom, and she began attacking me verbally. She said she isn't wrong for hiding it. She invalidated how I felt. She disregarded how crucial it is for me to know these things. The rest of my family also began to text me. My grandma even took her side. I told them that they've lost access for not understanding the sacrifices I've made for my sister, not understanding that I've committed the rest of my life to this, and not respecting my wishes. Am I the jerk? Obviously, we're not entitled to know what went down for the situation to end up like it did, but us knowing that the situation ended up like it did should be enough for us to know. Them going behind their back and letting the mom see that kid without CPS supervision like it's required is a huge freaking deal. I mean, I definitely feel for the kid about their relationships potentially getting affected from this, but you can't be a pushover in that situation. You gotta look out for the kid because clearly nobody else in the family is. Canadian01 wrote, "Not the jerk. Tell them that their actions could essentially freak up the entire visitation process for the mom. Tell them that you're following the rules which are in place for a reason. Whatever that is, the aunt and grandmother know dang well a problem with mom, and that if under your watch your sister has been allowed to see her mom unsupervised, it might even mess up your custody and put your sister's custody in jeopardy and take her away from all of you. So tell them that apparently you're the only grown-up here, which is why you have custody and they don't, and that it's easy to act irresponsibly when they have no skin in the game, no responsibility towards this child at all. But because you bear sole responsibility for the health and welfare of your sister, you make the decisions and you abide by the rules. Thank you for being there for her, and please seek out others in your family or a support of some kind to help you through this nightmare family you have. Your sister is lucky to have you. This next story is, am I the jerk for not inviting my sister to my wedding after she ruined my proposal? I, 29-year-old male, recently got engaged to my girlfriend, 28-year-old female, and it was supposed to be one of the happiest moments of our lives. I had planned a romantic proposal at our favorite spot, a secluded beach where we had our first date. I had everything ready, flowers, a small picnic, and a photographer hiding nearby to capture the moment. When the day came, my sister, 32-year-old female, insisted on tagging along. She said she wanted to take a few candid photos of us before the proposal. I was hesitant, but agreed, thinking it might make the moment more special. Big mistake. As we reached the spot, my sister started acting weird, making snarky comments and trying to direct the whole scene like a movie. My girlfriend could sense something was off and the mood was getting ruined. Then, out of nowhere, my sister grabbed the ring box from my pocket and yelled, "Surprise, look what he's going to do!" My girlfriend was shocked and I was furious. I managed to salvage the proposal somewhat, but the moment was tainted. My girlfriend said yes, but we both felt the proposal was ruined. Later, I confronted my sister and she just laughed it off, saying she was just trying to help and that I was overreacting. Fast forward to our wedding planning, and my fiancé and I decided not to invite my sister. We wanted our day to be about us without any unnecessary drama. When my family found out, they were furious. My parents called me heartless and my sister's playing the victim, saying I'm tearing the family apart over a little joke. Now I'm feeling conflicted. Am I the jerk for not inviting my sister to my wedding after she ruined my proposal? I mean, she blatantly ruined and laughed off in your face one of the biggest moments of your life. With her acting like that and not even being I wouldn't blame OP if they never wanted to speak or see her again. Stonewall Brigade 21 wrote, "What she did is so ludicrous that my first reaction was that perhaps this post isn't real. No one could be that obtuse. I don't blame you one bit for not wanting her at your wedding. You already made the mistake of allowing her to come along to the proposal, not the jerk." She just laughed it off, saying she was just trying to help. What might she try to do to help at the wedding if she went? My parents called me heartless. Perhaps your parents are part of the problem and have always enabled her behavior. Different Boss 6020 added, I think OP intended the edit to explain their decision about the wedding, but all it does is make me judge a bit harder about them allowing her to come to the proposal in the first place. The whole family's been enabling, so it's gonna come down hard on OP to put their foot down here, but I would do the same. They're likely to regret it if they don't. Our next story is, am I the jerk for telling my stepdaughter I don't want to watch any freaking kids and that includes yours? I have never wanted kids. I was forced to watch my younger siblings, 4 of them, until I left at the age of 16. I greatly dislike babysitting and never had my own children. Never have been comfortable around young kids after that. My husband has 3 children. I met and married him when his kids were in their 20s. I'm not a mother figure to them at all, just their dad's wife. Overall, I got along well with the 3 adults. The problem started when my Kelly became pregnant. Everyone was excited for the first baby in the family. I made it clear I didn't want to babysit, and when grandkids were around, my husband was to be the main caretaker. My husband agreed. The first 2 years went great. My husband is an awesome grandpa, and I'm fine being the relative that brings toys and other fun stuff once in a while. Kelly has been pushing hard for me to take up a more traditional grandma role. Her mother-in-law isn't involved, she lives a few states over. Kelly has gotten in her head that I should be doing the babysitting instead of her father. We've talked to her multiple times. My husband's on a work trip and will be back next week. Usually he babysits on Monday, but he informed her that he won't be there, so it was canceled. She stopped over and was dropping her kids off. I asked what she was doing since her dad wasn't here. She told me that I need to step up and babysit, that she doesn't care if her dad isn't here. I am present. I told her no. This went in circles for a bit and got more heated the longer we went. I told her I don't want to watch any freaking kids, and that includes yours. She is ticked. My husband's fine with what I did, but his other children are on his butt. So, am I the jerk? As conflicted as the situation makes me feel in regards to a person marrying another person with kids, when the initial person has no desire to have kids, doesn't want to raise kids, doesn't want to watch the kids, but I suppose that's something all on its own entirely. The important thing here is OP was consistent from the very start over a long period of time. OP said, I want no part in having to watch these kids and having to raise these kids, grandkids included. And it's not like OP's being a hypocrite or switching up or making things inconvenient. It shouldn't be a surprise to anyone when OP said this is exactly how they feel the entire time. Fish No Guns wrote, not the jerk. However, this is not necessarily about who is a jerk or not, as I assume you would prefer to continue having good relations with her in the future. We have talked to her multiple times. Have you described why you don't want to do it? Because I think if you frame it as you did here, essentially, I was forced to look after children when I was a child and ran away from home because of it, it is difficult to see how someone can still be ticked. Yes, the Reddit hive mind will tell you that they don't have a right to know this, and just your preference not to do it should be enough, and the Reddit hive mind may be philosophically morally correct. But sometimes in life you need to pick between being ideologically correct and actually getting the result you want. This next story is, am I the jerk for fat shaming a girl? I'm a pretty slim guy, about 135 pounds at 5'11". I've been hitting the gym and have seen some progress, but generally I'm still pretty skinny. Recently, I've been seeing this girl Vanessa casually, and her friend isn't a fan of this because she's made it known that the past Vanessa has dated a lot taller, buffer guys. I was hanging out with Vanessa today, and her friend showed up uninvited and was talking again about how I'm twiggy and short. This annoyed me, so I told her that I didn't want to hear a word from a woman with a bigger waist than me. She got angry and said I was fat-shaming her. Vanessa agreed with me that her friend had it coming, but some mutuals say I'm the jerk. OP's clearly not the jerk here. It wasn't like OP was going at this with some kind of premeditated hate or bias against their size. OP was antagonized not just once but multiple times, and finally, they understandably wanted to throw it right back at this person who's judging them. AnaughtyMom135 wrote, not the jerk. It's frustrating that the shaming only seems to be viewed as bad in one direction. Eat a salad to someone struggling with obesity is a horrible thing to say, but eat a sandwich to an underweight or just healthfully thin person is considered much more acceptable. Normally, I'd say flinging an insult in return is a bad look, but honestly, what you said wasn't even that bad, especially considering you're a slim guy. Silky Salmon 13 added, exactly. As a skinnier guy, I'd been teased by people my whole life. Eat a sandwich, put some meat on those bones, lift a weight, don't blow away in the wind. It's absurd, because I'm not even abnormally skinny. I'd have been perfectly average in 1970. I'm 5'11" and 150 pounds. I'm actually pretty athletic, but because I don't have large biceps and I have small calves, people assume I'm weak. I could probably outperform 90% of the people who made these comments in pretty much any physical competition too. Our next story is, am I the jerk for telling my sister I hate taking care of my baby brothers? Context: 3 weeks ago, my 15-year-old female, parents, 41-year-old female, 53-year-old male, welcomed into the world my twin baby brothers, Jonah and Isaac. They are the sweetest bundles of joy, but were absolutely oops babies on account of my parents' ages. This is the situation. Ever since the birth, my mom has been out of the house when the twins have needed something, in the bathroom, or too busy with whatever she's doing to come and tend to their needs. I know it's not work because she's a stay-at-home mom. My dad's never home, and my sister, Nevia, 17-year-old female, is too busy planning her wedding, in a state of mania and breaking down mentally because I don't think she even loves the guy that she's engaged to help me with anything. This leaves the babies to me. It was fine the first few days it happened. I get that healing from birth sucks and postpartum depression is a thing, but it doesn't feel fair that these responsibilities keep falling to me. This Sunday at 6 in the morning while we were all getting ready for church, it fell to me to wake the twins, feed them, wash them, change them, and get them dressed. I also had to load them into the car. I hardly had time to get myself ready while my family was yelling for me to hurry up and get in the dang car, Libby. Thanks, Dad. I am 15. I also have marching band responsibilities. I do not have the mental bandwidth to deal with this. This leads to today. My sister and I were having lunch while talking about wedding planning. She's getting married to our pastor's son, 19-year-old male, so it's kind of a big deal. We were bantering and debating floral arrangements. She was having one of her better mental health days, when all of a sudden we heard the twins start crying. They screamed and cried, and I just sat flipping through magazines before I noticed my sister staring at me. The interaction went something like this. I said, "What, Navia?" Navia, a bit annoyed, replied, "Aren't you gonna get that?" I said, "Get what?" She replied, "The twins, duh." I don't know what came over me, but I groaned and yelled that I hated being the boys' live-in nanny instead of their sister, and that I couldn't understand why mom can't take care of them herself. I ranted for a while. I said I hated not being able to get sleep or even take care of my own needs because I had to watch out for the boys first. Nevia got a nasty look on her face and told me I was a butt for trying to make mom's life harder than it needs to be, and that I should be overjoyed that our parents have bestowed me the blessing of taking care of our brothers and being able to bond with them while they're still young. I asked her that if it was such a blessing, why couldn't she help out? This just made her get upset with me and walk away. It's been a few hours and my sister still hasn't talked to me. It's very clear to me that she's been avoiding me. So am I really that much of a jerk for not wanting to take care of my brothers? But it's such a blessing to have them around and to be a part of their lives and to have them a part of our lives, OP. Wait, what's that? You want me to take care of them? You want me to watch them? Anyways, I gotta go do some stuff. I clearly don't think OP's the jerk. Apart ad 6518 wrote, "Not the jerk. You're 15 and it's not okay that your parents are dumping the responsibility of 2 3-week-old babies on you. It's parentification. Or that your older sister is colluding with them. I couldn't understand why mom can't take care of them herself. I can't either. Please either talk to a wider family member you can trust, an adult outside your family, or your school guidance counselor. What is happening here isn't okay on any level." OP responded saying, "I never even stopped to think Nevia was in on it. She's been so busy nowadays. Today was actually the first time in a while we could stop and chat." Our next story is, am I the jerk for refusing to attend my sister's wedding after she secretly dated and got engaged to my ex-fiancé? Alright Reddit, buckle up because this is a roller coaster. I, 28-year-old female, was engaged to my ex-fiancé Mike, 30-year-old male, for 2 years. We were together for 5 years in total, and we were supposed to get married last summer. About 3 months before our wedding, I found out that he had been cheating on me with someone else. It was devastating, and I called off the wedding immediately. Mike moved away shortly after we broke up, and I thought that was the end of it. I was heartbroken, but I slowly started to move on with my life. Fast forward to last month, I get a call from my younger sister Lily, 25-year-old female, saying she has exciting news and wants me to come over to our parents' house for dinner to share it. When I arrived, Lily and my parents were all smiles, and she drops the bombshell. She's engaged to Mike. My head was spinning. I felt like I was going to pass out. Lily and Mike had been secretly dating for the past year, and now they were engaged. My parents had known about it for months, but decided to keep it from me to protect my feelings. They actually thought I'd be happy for them eventually. Lily tried to justify it by saying she and Mike fell in love after our breakup, and that their relationship is meant to be. She insisted that they didn't start dating until after we were officially over, but I felt betrayed on so many levels. I told them all that I wanted nothing to do with their wedding and stormed out. Since then, my parents and Lily have been bombarding me with calls and texts, calling me selfish and saying I'm overreacting. They claim that true love is rare, and I should be supportive of Lily's happiness. Now the wedding is in a few months and the pressure is on. My parents have even threatened to cut me off financially if I don't attend. Some friends think I should go to keep the peace and show I'm over it, while others are appalled and say I have every right to be angry and to stay away. To add insult to injury, Lily recently asked if I would be her maid of honor, claiming she wants to mend our relationship. This request has left me torn. I don't want to ruin our family dynamic further, but I can't shake the hurt and betrayal I feel. So, am I the jerk for refusing to attend my sister's wedding after she secretly dated and got engaged to my ex-fiancé? I mean, maybe if it happened like years down the line or whatnot. It was like a much later down the road full circle bumped into each other and it just clicked so well. but it's obviously not that. I mean, OP clarified they and Mike were supposed to get married just last summer. That relationship is still extremely fresh. I just can't blame OP at all, and if I were in OP's shoes, I don't know if I would be able to believe that there wasn't cheating going on between the two of them, especially considering OP found out Mike was cheating with somebody else already. Owls and Cardinals wrote, "Not the jerk. The timeline here seems somewhat questionable. You were supposed to get married like 12 months ago but broke up 15 months ago and they've magically been together for 12 months? I don't know, maybe, but have you considered the possibility that she's the one he cheated with? It's bewildering to me that all the adults in the situation accept all this without question and are putting the pressure on you to do the same. That's wild. It sucks to face the prospect of losing financial support, but you might be better off without the lot of them having much of a role in your life. They do not have your best interests at heart. I don't know if this is a new dynamic, if she's always been the golden child or what. Even if I were to stretch my imagination and see this as a genuinely loving and healthy, committed relationship between the two of them, you have not been treated with respect as their relationship developed. Your sister and parents really let you down, and they're digging themselves further into the hole by demanding you respond in a certain way and by threatening and coercing you to comply. Ick. Try to keep your head up, you don't have to go along with their celebrations, and build as much independence as you can so that you're not too disadvantaged if they further try to control you by withholding financial support. You really don't want to be dependent on them when they've shown they value the peace in the family or your sister's happiness over your happiness. Ayn Inman added, "Likely explanation, Lily is the golden child, she does no wrong in the parents' eyes. Parents like Mike, consider him family. Mike had second thoughts about marrying OP or is just the cheating type and wanted to explore a relationship with Lily. The cheating he confessed to OP was with Lily, and the reason he confessed it was probably because he wanted to end things with OP. Parents are okay with this because Lily is the golden child. They've always liked Mike and Lily's happiness is more important than OP. It sounds crazy, but when parents have a strong preference for one child, they really can do crap like this. Terrible parents." Our next story is, am I the jerk for refusing to let my younger half-sister have the something borrowed that she asked for? My younger half-sister Lay, 19-year-old female, is getting married. Our dad and her mom are paying for the wedding, and this will come in a bit later. I, 27-year-old female, was asked by Lay if she could borrow a necklace I wore on my wedding day. That was my mom's before me, which she wore to her wedding to my dad. This was a sore topic. Even though my mom had wanted all of her jewelry to go to me, Dad had given Lay a few things when she was a child. He told me I had no say in the matter and he loved my mom and wanted both his daughters to have pieces of her even though Lay is not my mom's child. I still dislike that she has some of my mom's jewelry, but I know Dad has built her up to see it as something sweet. So when she asked me to borrow the necklace I wore on my wedding day and Mom wore on hers, it stung again. I told her she could not borrow that. But I offered to let her borrow some of my jewelry, stuff that isn't connected to my mom. Lay told me that wasn't fair, and she wanted to get married matching me on my wedding day in some way. She'd asked if I'd feel differently if Dad and her mom weren't paying for it. She told me she knows I don't like her parents and that she doesn't think I should take it out on her. I said no, it's not that. It's that I don't want to share my mom's jewelry with her. That I never wanted her to have some of my mom's stuff. That was all Dad, and I wasn't giving her another piece even just for one day. She accused me of gatekeeping my mom. She told me she had just as much right to it as I did. I asked her why when she has her own mom. She told me because everyone knows Dad only ever loved my mom and her mom is less than second best. And clearly sharing something from my mom means he loves her, Lay, as an actual daughter despite him not loving her mom. That she wants to feel like I love her as a true sister and not some half thing that I wish didn't exist. She told me letting her borrow the necklace can show that. I still said no. Am I the jerk? The bottom line is, if it belongs to OP, if OP owns it, they have every right to say no for whatever reason. And also, it really sounds just extremely emotionally manipulative what Lay's trying to say to OP, which especially just kind of makes me pull away even further and say, no thanks. This doesn't seem like a healthy thing to support. Meep42 wrote, "Not the jerk. Leah's using some twisted logic to try to get to you. Does her mom know about this BS? Did she put her up to it? Anywho, my thought is if she borrows that necklace, you never see it again. You know, as further proof that you love her like a true sister or whatever story she comes up with next. Her and her mom need therapy if it's true." But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. Now, if you want to hear another absolutely crazy Am I the Jerk Here story, check out that video on the left. Or if you missed my latest video, check out that video on the right. That's it, I'll see you all next time with some more stories.